Okay. I did have
Started with that.
I always have just like one giant hiccup. I never have hiccups. Have you noticed that?
I have noticed that.
I think it's weird.
It is weird.
Anyways, I did have a fun fact.
Ooh.
Or fiction. But I think it's a fact because it's from Forbes.
It's a fact.
It's a fact. I thought this was interesting. And it's been raining in California like a lot. Mm-hmm. And all of us are like, what is life?
Yeah.
So it's facts about rain.
Okay.
Ash, would you think that rain would make your asthma worse or better?
Worse.
Are you just guessing that because you would think better?
No.
How do you know that?
Because I used to have asthma.
Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. It goes without saying that me and Ash are huge, huge, huge supporters of therapy. With all of our lives being as crazy and busy as they are, you need something that meets you exactly where you are, whether it's texting or calling or video. BetterHelp is so easy in that way, and I've used BetterHelp, so I cannot say enough how much I recommend that.
If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. The thing I love the most about BetterHelp is that it's entirely online, and it's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. So whether you want to video chat, do a phone call, or even text your therapist, they will meet you where you're at. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and the best part is you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/unsolicited today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/unsolicited. I always forget that you did it. And I remember one time finding an inhaler at your house and I was like, whose is this?
It wasn't serious. I had a very minor case of it through middle school and high school.
Yeah.
And they said I grew out of it. I don't know.
Gee.
But I had a really hard time. And anything where the air feels thicker isn't great.
Interesting.
So drier weather is actually better because it at least it's clear. But when anything's
do you know
damp,
why?
No idea. I just know it was harder.
I would guess. I know my allergies are better.
Yeah.
I feel like when it's raining.
Rains, that's interesting because my boyfriend's allergies are worse when it rains.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder what we probably have a different type of allergy.
Yeah, I think mine's the same too because I'm mine's better when it rains, I feel like.
Yeah. So it says that this is not conclusive, but professionals think that the winds associated with thunderstorms
Yeah.
lift pollen and mold spores, and when the rain comes, it bursts the particles into smaller allergens that can get into your lungs.
Ingested more?
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's
fascinating.
why it makes it. That is actually very fascinating.
That is really fascinating.
You know
I
what's
had
the
no
most
idea.
fascinating is that how'd they do that? How'd they figure that out?
How'd they figure that out? I have
What
no
kind
idea.
of high intensity camera do you have to have
To watch the
to
particles?
watch a rainfall burst a particle? What
One
is
of those
a
slow-mo
particle?
cameras? I've always wanted to play with one of those super slow-mo cameras.
So yes. Anyways, wow, science, y'all.
Well, it has been raining a lot in LA.
It has.
It has been insane.
Tell me
and
about your tree.
The craziest thing happened to me.
Yeah. Did I just ruin the story?
I was about to head into it. It's fine. So Saturday, actually Friday night, we were told that LA was getting a blizzard warning, and everyone was laughing this
They
is
said
not
blizzard?
Yes, blizzard
Wow.
warning. It was posted everywhere. I got an alert. Everyone's phones were going off saying blizzard warning
didn't
for
know
LA
it.
area, and I laughed at it. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I was like, a blizzard? Come on.
You're like, come on.
Stupid. It rained. It dumped an insane amount of water between Friday night and Saturday night.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. I woke up Saturday morning to what I thought was a actual earthquake. I heard a super loud boom and a big, loud, very confusing crunching sound. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out what it was. I literally shooted up out of sleep.
Well, you said it also shook.
Yeah, it shook the building. So what I hear is a loud crunch, which in my head, I think I was perceiving as maybe a car accident. And then a loud bang followed by the building shaking. So I was like, was there a car accident and an earthquake? Like I was
a car in my living room?
so confused as to what was happening. And I just like shot up and I was like, what was that? And I run to the window. A giant tree that has been in front of my place for probably eons.
Decades.
Like it's a big tree.
It's a beautiful tree.
Yeah. Fell. Like completely fell over. And I'm sure it was multiple things. I thought the tree was very dead looking, but now that I watched everything, it was very much alive. It was just like soaked with water. So one, it was super heavy. Two, the ground was sopping wet. Yeah. So I think our LA ground wasn't great. It was like literally mud, and now the tree just fell over. It literally fell from my side of the street, reached across and touched the other sidewalk on the other side of the street. That's how big it was. And so the boom made sense. Everything made sense. And it just completely terrified me, thinking if it had only fallen the opposite direction, it would have hit my unit. Yeah, it would have been in my bedroom with me.
Absolutely.
So it was kind of scary. But then honestly, just like pure entertainment the rest of the day. Like people were, I called in the tree incident, and so people came finally a few hours later and caution taped it. But we were just watching people come and like stop and then like pull out their phone and video it and then take a selfie with the tree. I watched this guy get out of his car with his huge, it looked like a Mastiff puppy, get his puppy to pose in front of the tree and like is lifting up the caution tape and taking a picture of his dog with the tree. And it was just so fun watching people do it. But
Dude,
apparently, that day there were multiple trees that fell over in LA because of how much our city is not made for water.
Not prepared for rain.
Yeah. So multiple trees were down, and the tree falling happened at 6 a.m. They didn't come with a tractor until like 5 p.m. to break it down. And watching them break it down was so fun. They had this like giant hand on the tractor, and it was just like crunching all of the branches together, and then they like pushed it off to the side. It's still there on the side of the street because they were it's going to be a while till we can get to this.
I drove up today, and like I just stopped for a second and was like,
yeah,
why is there like a crumbled tree like in front of your house?
So scary, but then like just the craziest thing. So yeah.
That's nuts.
It was wild.
That's nuts.
It's really wet and dangerous out here right now.
Yeah. So I mean, LA versus like where I'm from or where I live now is like not too far. It's like maybe an hour distance driving, but stark difference. Like LA, like I left Ashley's house the last time it rained really bad, and I literally thought my car was like fully submerged. Like water was like halfway up my door, and it was just a normal street that I go on all the time. But it's like LA doesn't know like where the water's supposed to go. Like the ground's
just not made
prepared.
For it. It is a dry desert area, and it's not made for that much water. And it was an insane amount of water. I took a video of the tree and the water, so we'll be posting that. But it was so you guys can see. But it was absolutely insane.
I live in a brand new building, and of course, like this is a tearing it up. This is in general, because I was like, of course this happens, right? So one day my siblings and their significant others were over, which by the way, game night is always such a bummer because they'll be like, yeah, we can do tea. Oh, I'm always like, yep. It's odd.
I'm the
aware.
baby.
I'm aware. I'll be the game master. But anyways, so they were over, and my brother was sitting on like the couch that's right by the window. And so all of a sudden he like screams. He's like, what the heck? And I look over, and water is just pouring on his back from my window. And so I'm like looking, and I'm like, what the heck? So like there was like a crack that had formed like in the corner of the window. And so the next day, like I called, like maintenance came, and I asked them, because I'm like, oh, this must be happening because it's a new building. It's finally like shifted and like whatever. So I'm like, oh, I'm sure this is happening everywhere. Guess how many out of like so many units, guess how many people?
Just you.
Me and one other person.
Still.
One other person. So it's been like this whole journey, but basically they're gonna it's gonna be a big construct. Like I think they have to like literally pull out my whole like window and like redo that side of the building. So I've just every time it starts raining, I just have to get towels ready because like water just like consistently drips from my window.
Yeah.
So that's been my rain experience.
That's rough. That's rough.
Of course
stuff.
it's mine.
Yeah.
Of course it's mine. Makes no sense.
Taryne and I had the craziest thing happen also on Saturday when it was super rainy. Taryne and I went out.
Yeah, we did.
For a birthday.
Yeah, we did.
And we went to our friend's birthday. It was at Shore Bar. It's this bar in Malibu. And it was rainy. Honestly, I'm shocked we all made it.
Ash was like texting me, hey, be careful.
I was like, be careful, because the streets were crazy out here.
Yeah, it was nuts.
And it was just the weirdest out of body like experience. I felt so old. I've never felt more old in my life. And I walk in and I see this group of children. No, if I had to guess their age, and I will admit I'm bad at that, but if I had to guess their age, I would have guessed 14 to 16. I was thinking like 18, but like, yeah.
They looked
underage.
So young.
Underage.
Yes.
And I like see this group of people trying to get into the bar, and I'm noticing like the guy's not giving them the time of day, like the like bouncer. And I'm like, I wonder what's going on. Like, is there a cover charge? Like, what's going on? He lets us walk in, no problem. And then I turn back and take a glance at their faces. Children. Actual chill. I was so shocked. And then we get guided up to like the upstairs spot where I guess it was like a members only room, which was fine. Everyone was old, like it seemed older.
It was our group, so
it was like her party. So we were like upstairs most of the time. We go to leave or like go to the bathroom downstairs, and every time like I'm just assaulted by how many young faces are around me. Like they were children. It was so weird.
The conspiracy part of my brain is like, I wonder if that's like a known place that you can get in if you're not 21. Because I would bet millions of dollars that those are not 21-year-olds.
They were not.
There's no way.
It so clearly was not.
There's no way.
So like, and then even when we left, like me and my boyfriend were just looking at all of the people that were like pouring out of the bar. And I was like, this is kind of... Is this sketchy? Like,
no,
I was
I've
like,
never
I don't
felt so
know what's
old
going
in my life.
on. I felt so old. This is doing nothing but confirming that I shouldn't go out anymore.
Well, maybe just being selective. Again, the party itself was fun because we were just with our group. But yeah, walking through the club was like very interesting.
Yeah. It's weird being on the other side, feeling very old.
Also, like, everyone is dressed pretty casual, but also like hoochie, you know? Mm-hmm. And I stroll
low-rise
up,
jeans, tube top.
I stroll up because the theme of the party was like vacation, like islandy, Tulum, like whatever. So I show up in this full, like to the ground, sheer orange floral like thing.
She went full send.
Yeah, and I had like two little like space buns with clips because I was trying to be like, oh, like beach vacation. Because you tell me there's a theme. Girl, I'm going all out, right? Yeah. And so I show up, and me standing next to this group of people was like comical.
Yeah.
Like they all were looking at me like, who are you?
What's happening? Yeah. Not only are you significantly older than them, but you're like dressed up.
Yeah.
So funny.
It was a fun time. We were very humbled.
Yeah.
We're not young.
This is 30
anymore.
This is 30. Yeah. Tearing it up time. You guys already know this is my favorite part of the podcast where you guys send funny stories, and I just love a good laugh. So let's get into it.
Same.
Hi, ladies. I just want to start by saying that I have been listening to you guys since 2020. You got me through the end of my senior year at high school, got me through COVID, and now almost all of college.
What? How long have we been doing this?
Good amount of time, apparently.
Wow.
I have thought about writing in before, but couldn't think of the perfect story. Even if you do not say this on the podcast, it still means the world to me that you may possibly read it. This happened a couple of months ago at school. I would like to say I'm anonymous, but you can know my name. It's...
Bleep that out.
Okay. I go to a big school on the East Coast called UMass Amherst. This school has about 25,000 students and a lot of different clubs. Back in 2020, I joined a sorority. This sorority has been a great experience because it has allowed me to meet a lot of new people, and some of my best friends. Because we are a sorority, we spend a lot of time interacting with different frats. Insert, let's call him Kyle.
It's a great frat boy name.
Yeah. Kyle was in the frat next to my sorority, so I hung out with him and his brothers a lot. And I really liked Kyle and would frequently talk to him when we were all over at their house. Greek Life collects can tabs for fundraising, and Kyle would always take my can tabs for me and help me collect them. One night, my friends from home were visiting. I wanted to introduce them to Kyle and all my sorority sisters and his friends. That night, I had also been wearing press-on nails that had been on for about a week from a previous sorority event. As the night progressed, I started collecting can tabs and putting them in my pocket to give to Kyle later. I also started to lose nails since they had been on for such a long time. And you know the press-on nails. They tend to fall off.
I don't know anything about that life. I've never done press-on nails.
Not once?
Never.
Huh.
So, you can keep them on longer than...
So, let me catch you up. For anyone who doesn't know, press-on nails have evolved a lot from back in the day. You can buy press-on nails at Target or CVS, and they'll last a week.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, they're great. You can shower your hair. It's a whole thing. They're great for I've used them multiple times for shoots that I didn't prepare for or I didn't have my nails done for. And they'll go on over these and you just kind of shape them to your nail. And they'll last for a good amount of time. So press-on nails have stuffed it up.
Okay. Yes. I always see them in drugstores, but I've never actually done.
Really? Yeah. I mean, I obviously I prefer getting my nails done, but they're great for in a pinch.
Okay, cool.
I started to take the nails off and put them in my other pocket because I wanted to re-glue them.
Oh, God.
Broke college student. As all my nails came off, I finally made it to Kyle's frat. I introduced them to Kyle and we were all talking and it was great. Just as we were about to go inside, I decided to be flirty. She puts in parentheses next to that. Bad idea. So I handed Kyle all my, she puts in quotes, can tabs. Kyle took my, quote, can tabs, and I started to walk away thinking it was great as Kyle taps me on the shoulder. I turned around and all I could see was a pile of my dirty, used press-on nails in his hand.
Oh my God.
That's right. I had given Kyle a pile of my used press-on nails instead of the can tabs. Yes, wrong pocket. I didn't know what to say except OMG, and Kyle responded with, that was weird. Really weird. I took my nails back and grabbed my friends and walked home. Needless to say, Kyle still has my other can tabs and we don't talk anymore.
Oh,
rough ending.
Kyle.
Do better,
also,
Kyle.
Every time I hear these embarrassing moments that happen on dates and then they never hear from them, I'm that's going to deter you.
Yeah.
Does no one have humor anymore?
Yeah. Anonymous, I feel if and when this ever happens again, you just got to be whoops. Grab them. Hand them the can tabs, make some kind of joke out of it. Just be oh, are those my nails?
I will say, I feel this happens the most when I'm with my sister-in-law for some reason. But if we're walking and I see someone's ratty red nail on the floor, it is gross.
It is gross
and it's always
they're dirty.
Yeah,
they're dirty. That's what's
always
gross about it.
Funny too, because I'll be dang, who got in a fight? Or
yeah,
my sister-in-law will be not those nasty
Yeah, because nails, you shower with them, you cook with them, you do dishes with them,
that's
it's
so
dirty.
Funny.
It's just it's hilarious.
No, that's
but
hilarious.
I get the keep the press on. You can reuse them.
Yeah, if you can reuse them,
100% reuse them.
Heck yeah. Dang, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Okay, well, keep track of what's in your pockets, people, and
when it comes to press on nails, proceed with caution.
But I mean, also, whoever is going to be in that situation again, where they happen to have something in their pocket.
Just double check. When you go to hand someone something, maybe open your hand first and make sure.
Look at it.
You also, have a good visual of what you're giving
pocket
them.
lint. You just, in general, if you're going to hand something over, just
yeah.
Quick little.
Double check.
Quick little up and down. Okay. Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. It goes without saying that me and Ash are huge, huge, huge supporters of therapy. We all have things that we could benefit from working on and paying attention to. And with all of our lives being as crazy and busy as they are, you need something that meets you exactly where you are, whether it's texting or calling or video. BetterHelp is so easy in that way, and I've used BetterHelp, and I've had 3 different therapists until I found my gem, and it's just the easiest platform. Like, it's an easy app. You can like text and chat with them whenever. So I cannot say enough how much I recommend that.
If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. The thing I love the most about BetterHelp is that it's entirely online and it's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. So whether you want to video chat, do a phone call, or even text your therapist, they will meet you where you're at. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. And the best part is you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/unsolicited today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/unsolicited. All right, let's get into my story. It is titled, "This Is Me Trying," Taylor Swift. Is that a Taylor Swift song? Why? I don't know that song.
I don't know. I haven't heard
Is it?
that.
Is it a good one?
Oh.
Ash, we suck. Does that show our age again?
I think it does.
We're old. We're not with the times. Well, now I'm going to listen to that on the way home.
I know, same. Well,
Okay.
We can listen to it.
Well, we drove together.
So. You drove me.
Okay. Hello, girls. I gave up which name to put. Oh my God, I can't talk to put first. I didn't realize people still feel that pressure.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry if we've been pressuring you.
If
A before T
you
always.
put Ashley, dear Ashley and Taryne, you obviously hate me. Mm-hmm. And if you put dear Taryne and Ashley, you have great taste.
But zero pressure.
But also, come on. Just kidding. I would like to be anonymous, but you can know my name. Wow, interesting. Her name is...
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, one of my friends has a kid named that. I've never heard that name before. Beautiful name. I wanted to start this off by saying how incredibly grateful I am for you two. You have been a light in my life and in my morning routine, and I appreciate you so much. I'm just going to get right into it because I'm in a bit of a hard time right now and would really like some advice. I am a sophomore in high school going into my junior year. I'm 16 years old and live in Missouri, and I'm an Enneagram 5 wing 4. Last episode we had 4 wing 5.
Yeah,
wow.
Interesting.
What is the 5? Is the worrier?
The 5 is the researcher.
Okay.
I believe. So, as you guys know, Taryne and I love the Enneagram. It's a great way to discover people and how they work. The Enneagram 5 is someone who needs to know how something works, who doesn't do a thing without researching, who doesn't go somewhere without having a plan of attack or enter a conversation without having their bullet pointed notes. They're very put together, very knowledgeable, and a great resource when it comes to friendships.
I feel like that's an interesting wing pairing to be like a 4 and a 5 because I feel like those are almost like counteractive to me. Like very like in the clouds in your emotions, but then like researching and need to know how things work. Like I feel like I could see how you would almost have like an inner clash with yourself at times.
Yeah, I think in a cloud in your emotions is very like a stereotypical 4, but not all 4s are like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This year has been very chaotic. I have started a club. I've fallen in love with a boy who then fell in love with one of my friends. I have joined an AP class, which has been one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life. I've started therapy. I've written a 50-page book so far, and I have read plenty of romance novels. It may not seem like a lot from a far-off distance, but it is one of the most overwhelming things and years that I've had to deal with in my entire life, and I'm very tired. I feel like you can just like hear it in the way she's talking. I'm tired. I've found myself being very unmotivated to do anything, and I have been very depressed about certain things in my life, surrounding my appearance, my level of smartness, my confidence, and my friendships. I wear glasses and they just make me feel very insecure since I do not look like anyone in my grade. But without them, I feel even more insecure. I have a cowlick in my bangs and they look so weird and I'm just insecure all the time. My confidence is low because of this. I'm smart, but because I'm so burnt out, everything is so much harder than it usually is. In relationships, I struggle with not feeling like I will be loved for who I am. On top of all of this, I am a Christian and I've been struggling with my faith and whether I believe what my parents believe or what they don't believe. As I said, I'm getting therapy, but I just really wanted some pure advice from people who don't really know me and who still continue to feel like two big sisters that I've never had, as I am a big sister myself. I would really like some advice on how to deal with burnout and how to discover myself and what I believe in and how to navigate friendships and confidence all at the same time. I'm sorry if this is a lot, but I'm in a really dark place and I would love for any advice that you have. If you read this on the pod, thank you so much in advance. And if you don't, this felt nice to get out. P.S. I attached a photo of my best friend and I, as well as a picture of me when I have my glasses on. Okay. She's so cute. Like, I just want to slap you, Anonymous, because you're so cute. Like, it kills me. Look at her. Isn't she so pretty?
So cute.
Look at
That's
her
a
eyes.
gorgeous dress, too. It looks so good on you.
And her glass.
Oh, my God.
Like, so cute.
You're literally Jess from New Girl.
And
you're
look at
so
her bangs. Cute. Like, that's her cowlick, but I feel like it works perfect.
When you said cowlick and bangs, I pictured something way worse than what I'm looking at.
And also, like, I feel like it helps frame your face.
Yeah. You're adorable.
Girl, shut your mouth. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not trying to what's it called? I'm not trying to
take away from,
what's that word I'm trying to say? Diminish what you feel, because I know it doesn't matter. If you have insecurities, it doesn't matter how many times people say, like, no, you're not. You always are like, you don't mean that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But genuinely, I think you are beautiful. And also, I just want to say welcome to that time in life. Like, I don't know about anyone else, but my junior year, that's when I went through my huge who am I phase.
Yeah. I really wanted to just kind of like, I hope you hear this. What you're going through and what you're experiencing is so normal.
So normal.
It sounds, and I know it feels huge and like life altering, and obviously high school is such a big part of your life and everyone's finding themselves, but like everything you just listed, I went through too. Everything you just listed, Taryne went through. I guarantee you, your parents went through. Your friends currently in school are also going through. Everyone is struggling in high school, figuring out who they are, what they believe in, what they stand for, what hairstyle looks best with their forehead. You know, like that time in my life, I cut all my hair off and I loved it. But then looking back, I'm like, what the hell was I doing? You know, like I had friends that did the pixie cut came in when I was in high school and all the girls started pixie cuts. And I remember going around being like, you guys look terrible.
Any excuse I get?
I cannot. Are you trying to post a photo? I look so bad in high school. But what I'm saying is true, and it is factual. High school is for awkward. High school is for like trying new things and like it not working out and things not sticking.
Absolutely.
Like trying all the sports and realizing you're not a sporty gal. You should probably try band. You know, like that's what high school is for. And I think you need to hear that what you're experiencing is so normal.
Absolutely. And like, I don't know. I think it's like always. I think it's good for people because if you're listening in and you're looking up to us, like I would hope that you would respect our opinions or like at least be like, usually you ask advice to people who you think like have it together or like you respect their opinion. Yeah. So I think it's important to also like, for you, I hope it helps you to hear that like we went through it.
Yeah.
And
life gets better.
And also
high school was dark for me too. I had a hard time. I did not want to be there.
Yeah.
I had a hard time making friends and I had a hard time feeling like I belonged / I didn't know what I wanted to do because turns out I'm really bad at school and have struggles with learning disabilities and like all of that. Guess what? I figured it out in high school. So like it hits hard in high school, and that's why there's so many high school movies, because it's a pivotal time in life.
Yeah. I can't find the photo, but we will post it because I think it's important to remember that there's hope.
There's hope. It gets better. And you know what? I'm going to give you some advice for high school. One word. Pivot.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what you're going through, what the instance is, if you're trying out for a dance team or if you are trying out a new hairstyle, if it doesn't work, pivot.
Yeah.
And it's about not taking things personally, even though it feels extremely personal at the time. Don't take it personally. Pivot. Move on to the next thing. Like if that hairstyle looks horrible, if you can't pull off bangs, don't try to pull off bangs. Just because your friend looks good with bangs doesn't mean you look good with bangs.
Yeah.
So if you give it a go and you don't like it, pivot. No more bangs.
Start getting like learn how to French braid and find like cute hairstyles where you can braid your bangs down. Yeah.
Try all the hairstyles, but continue to keep trying until you find the right one. If you're trying a new friend group or you're trying to become friends with this friend group and they're just the worst and they're not letting you in, pivot. Wrong friend group.
Yeah.
Like take the L and just be like, hey, that's not for me. I'm going to go to try these people over here. I'm not saying don't stop trying. You just got to pivot to the next thing and let it roll off you. Yeah. If a girl says something mean, let it roll off you and pivot. Yeah. You're not meant for her. You're too good for her.
Every single person in high school is even the ones who present as if they're like the coolest, most put together person. Every single person is insecure, doesn't know what they're doing, is worried about what people think. So even like the meaner people are probably they're the most insecure. Like it's something I wasn't aware of during the time, but now when I look back, it's like so obvious.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to say something that I've been learning because I've been really struggling with motivation too, and just being overwhelmed and feeling burnout and all that stuff. Something that I've really learned is the power of like front loading. So for me, and like front loading is a term I feel like a lot of times you use it for, like I use it a lot in like the kids I work with, right? So like if a teacher's like, I'm really struggling with this kid that's tantruming. Well, what can I do before to try to set this kid up so he's not going to throw a tantrum? Instead of when he's tantruming, how do I get him to stop? It's like, nah, it's a lot easier if you go ahead of the issue and try to avoid it altogether. Yeah. So for me, I've noticed that if my room is clean, if my house is organized, it frees up my headspace to be able to focus and do other things. If I know the under my sink is a mess, I will fixate on it, and then I won't be able to do anything else because I'll want to do that, you know? So for me, like I'll spend time dedicated to making sure my room's clean, making sure my car is clean, making sure whatever, because that frees up my mind to then be able to focus on other things. I will set a billion alarms. I will, I've started to put on smooth jazz when I want to like just focus in on something. So I'm starting to associate that with like, okay, it's time to work. I put this on and I feel ready to go. So when you're overwhelmed and you're feeling stuck and like, I can't do these things, I would look at what helps you in those areas. Is it like the layout of your desk in your room? Like, do you need to like get a cute candle? Do you need to get cool mood lights? Like what is something that can help you? Because we all are very like mentally driven people. And I think there are ways that we can trick our mind into being like, okay, let me like get in this place to where I can be productive. But also like junior year is the hardest academic year of high school. So a lot of it is, I think if you can just really push and know that, like luckily I had someone tell me that. So when I was like drowning junior year, I was like, I can get through this year. Like senior year's coming. It's going to be better going from here. But I think keeping perspective, prioritizing what to let go of and not to let go of, and then front loading to set yourself up for success.
Yeah. I think so
your stomach? Yeah. That was so loud.
I was going to roll past it, but...
well, we don't have to keep this in, but like...
keep it in. That's fine.
No, I'm like impressed.
I'm hungry.
She said, this is my moment.
Yeah, man. High school's rough. It always is. And I'm sorry that you're currently going through it, but we've all gone through it.
Yeah.
And you do make it out on the other end, and it does get better. And it's tough. And I don't, again, like Taryne said, I don't want to diminish it, because I remember like crying multiple times to my mom, just being like so miserable there.
Same.
And feeling like she didn't understand. But one day you'll look back and be like, remember that?
Yeah.
And you're 1,000% not alone. And I agree with Taryne. I had a hard time with school too, and feeling motivated with studying because I just sucked at school. But yeah, I found a bunch of cool things that helped me. The lyricless music, mine was classical, helped me focus a lot. Getting rid of my phone helped me focus a lot. Having a designated study space helped me focus a lot. And yeah, I think try a ton of different things to make you look forward to studying.
Yeah.
Even like if it's a fun study place, even if you're trying a new coffee shop every time you study, I don't know.
Yeah.
Reward yourself too. Take breaks.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I will say, and I think most, especially like women, would agree with me. When I look back to high school, the thing I don't regret, but the thing I wish I could tell my younger self is I spent so much time and energy and tears and just being depressed and sad, so focused on what I look like and how people thought about me.
Yeah.
And I feel like because I did that, I missed out on all of the fun stuff in high school. So I would really encourage you to work on that. Like if you need to go to therapy, if you need to talk to people, like find some friends to talk to. You're in therapy, so that would be a huge focal point to work on with your therapist. But I think it's just restructuring and realizing like nobody's opinion matters except your own. So like you work on finding ways to love yourself and to be confident in yourself, and everyone else can like screw themselves.
Yeah.
And just keep pushing forward and finding the right people that make you feel supported and lifted up and move on from there.
Yep.
But you are so gorgeous, and I'm telling you, you are wasting time thinking otherwise because you're beautiful and you don't need to spend your time and energy worrying about your glasses or your hair. Like just be authentically who you are and be nice to people and just have fun. Like that's all you need to do.
Yes. 100%.
High school is the worst.
Sucks so bad.
Yeah, it really does.
I do feel bad you're in it.
Yeah. Wait till you get an RN and then you'll look back at it and just be like, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I remember I cared so much about that.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get into my story. This one is titled Life is Lonely. Hey, Taryne and Ash. Please keep me anonymous. I am 26 years old and I am an Enneagram 9, although 6 was a close second. If you guys don't know what the Enneagram is, it's a like personality program that helps you
already
kind
said
of
this earlier.
did I?
Because she said her Enneagram.
I'm
But
gonna
you can say
again.
how you were 9.
Okay. If you guys don't know, I'm also an Enneagram 9, so we're similar. We're Enneagram twins. And 9s are the coolest.
Are they? No, I'm just kidding.
Basically, I'm trusting, loyal, and easygoing, but I hate conflict and am highly anxious. I'm currently in a funk and thought, who better to ask for advice than you two?
Wow.
Honored.
Come to us.
So a little backstory. I moved out on my own when I was 23, right after COVID started, and have been living in the same apartment by myself ever since. Generally, I do quite enjoy living alone. I've always been very independent and I am an introvert, so I appreciate my own space. Unfortunately, right when I moved out, I was forced to spend all of my time alone due to COVID restrictions, and my life felt very lonely and monotonous. However, for the past year or so, I feel like I've been living the normal life of a single girl in her 20s. I've been really enjoying and making the most out of it, spending time with friends and family, dating, traveling, and generally having a good time. But lately, I'm having those lonely feelings like I did back in 2020. The only difference this time is COVID restrictions aren't to blame anymore. All of my close friends are in relationships, and while I never minded being the 3rd, 5th, and 7th wheel, lately I'm really feeling like an extra. I understand that I'm getting to an age where everyone has their own busy lives, and I do as well. But on those quiet weeks where it's been 7 nights and you spent all of them alone and no one has asked you to make plans, you start to feel lonely. Being single has never really bugged me before, but lately I'm starting to feel the loneliness in being alone. It feels like everyone around me has someone in their lives that is more important to them, and I'm not that person for anyone. I'm a late bloomer, and I've never been in a long-term relationship before. I've been on dating apps for the last few years, but due to my struggling/loyal nature and the current dating scene, nothing has lasted too long, and my feelings always get hurt. I'm not the kind of person who can date multiple people at once, even when it's just casual. I keep ending up with these emotionally unavailable men who only end up hurting me, and for once, I'd just like for it to work out. It's hard for me to not be vulnerable, and with the way things have been going lately, my walls are up quite high. I've put effort into dating, but at this point, I'm so discouraged and don't have the energy to keep trying. The only problem is I do want to find someone to enjoy life with, so I feel like I have to keep trying. Don't get me wrong, I'm not unhappy with my life. I've just found myself in a funk where life has slowed down. I overthink everything and I'm very emotional. The winter season might have a little to do with it. Yeah. She adds in parentheses, damn cold, dark Canadian winters. As summer is usually much busier and much more fun, but I can't wait for summer to feel better. It's just too far away. Basically, I'm lost and lonely and I don't know what to do. Sorry for the rant. I feel like I have no one to talk to who would understand, so any advice would be very appreciated. P.S. You are my favorite advice duo.
I'm not going to lie. I feel like I could have written this. I'm not. There was not everything, but there were so many things that you said that I was like, someone's reading my mail. Like, yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's funny you say that because I also felt like part of that was me too.
Yeah.
Which is, I feel like is the perfect scenario because I feel like both of us can relate to this in different perspectives.
And that's why I think our podcast is so amazing because I think that like a lot of the things people share with us are things they're like, I don't talk to people about.
Yeah.
But the second you say it to strangers, we've never met you. We probably have completely different lives.
Yeah.
But we both are like, oh, I feel heard. You know what I mean? And that's what's so powerful about talking about things in life is it helps other people, but it also helps you to be like, wow, I'm not alone, right?
Yeah. Oh, 1,000%.
Wow.
And thank you for sharing. 2, I feel like we should talk about there's a couple of things we need to like talk about here. Let's talk about dating first.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just going to say it's funny because I just had this conversation with myself the other day where I was like, I'm alone. I'm so lonely. I want a man. And then I was like, oh, the world is like open. Like, what is my excuse? Because I think I leaned so heavy onto, oh, it's COVID. It's like, you don't want to go, like, you can't just like go out anymore. But now I'm like, no. Like, the world is open and you're choosing to stay in your apartment by yourself.
Yeah.
But then you're whining because you're lonely. It's funny.
Oh, it's hilarious. When it comes to dating, I think life, and specifically dating, I think it comes in seasons for people. And I think if you're in your season of dating, lean into it. If you feel like you want to meet people, you want to go out, you want to shoot your shot, you want to try new things, you want to meet new guys, then like go for it. But if you're feeling overwhelmed and if you're feeling vulnerable and emotional and your walls are high, it's okay to back out for a while and just be. And I think something that a lot of my friends that I've watched over the years who tended to like serial date struggled with was being alone and being able to be alone. Yeah. And I think there's something really beautiful in being single and in working on yourself. And I don't mean that in I'm trying to be someone for my future husband. I mean, like, no, let's focus on me. Like, what makes me happy?
Yeah.
Let's figure that out first. And then, because it's not going to be a guy, like you'll get butterflies for a while and then eventually you're still going to be unhappy if you're unhappy.
Yeah.
So like, let's focus on like how to make you happy first before this. And I think there is a time where you are and should focus on that. So I think first of all, you need to figure out what's more important right now? Do you need to sit down with yourself, figure yourself out first before start dating? Because that could be a really good plan.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, I'm going to give myself a full 6 months to devote myself to making myself happy, to finding what brings me joy and finding daily activities to bring life into my life, you know? Because I think a lot of people, guys and girls, doesn't matter, tend to think like happiness comes with finding a person. And that's just not the case. So let's not romanticize romance and thinking that it's going to solve all your problems, because it's not.
And I think too, like, both can coexist. Like, I mean, I've talked about this before. Like, I think there is so much of this stigma of like being ashamed to admit you're lonely. Like, you want to be like, yeah, like independent girl here. Like, I don't need a man, like whatever. But it's like, no. I am an independent woman and I do like love my alone time and I love my life. But I do get sad and feel lonely because I desire a partner. Like, I want to get married. I want to have kids. Like, that is something I want. And that's okay. That's not embarrassing. Like, I just haven't found my person yet.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much like where we try to like stifle feeling lonely because we're like, oh, I don't want to feel lonely. But it's like, no. That's okay to feel that. Yeah. But also putting like both feet too into being independent and having like a good life just on your own as well.
1,000%.
And I don't know, like, it's funny because like I know most people in my life are very shocked that I'm single. And that's like one of those like double-edged, like, it's a compliment, but also it's like, I know. Linda, I don't know why I'm single. But I don't let it deter how I know from the bottom of my heart, and this is going to sound braggy, but like that's fine. I am a dream partner. Like, I am the best girlfriend. I will be the best wife. I know, I'm confident in that, because if there is anything I thrive in, it's loving other people and being a partner to other people. I'm fun. I'm weird. I will always keep you entertained. Yeah. Like, there's so much about me that I know I have so much to offer. And I think that's one of the first things that starts to diminish in seasons of loneliness is like, well, something must be wrong with me.
Yes, you're at fault.
I obviously don't have anything to offer.
You're broken.
I am the definition of wife material, and I can be confident in that and know that I believe whatever is meant to happen in my life will happen when it's meant to. And it's okay. It's okay to juggle all of those things. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like singleness, you're meant to fit this box of like, I'm crying, home alone, like I gotta work on myself so I can be a good. No. You can be confident and know what you have to offer and still be sad sometimes. Like, it's a big juggling match of everything. But I'm so sick of the like pity that comes when people are like, oh, honey, you're in your 30s and you're still single. And like, oh my gosh, you poor thing. And it's always, oh,
it'll happen.
He's coming. He's coming. I'm like, yeah, well, he better be. And like, he better hurry his butt up too. Cause like, I'm tired of waiting for him. But it's like, I don't need you to like reassure me. Yeah. So it's just, there's so much that comes at you when you're single. And especially once you get older, like people are like, oh.
Yeah. So something that I like that you said was you've put effort into dating, but at this point you're so discouraged and don't have energy to keep trying, but you know that you want to find someone to enjoy life with, so that you know you have to keep trying. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because I think what you just said is that you want to find someone to enjoy life with, meaning that's your goal, that's your end goal, which means guess what? You got to keep dating.
Yeah, that's where I suck. Ash gets mad at me all the time.
Like that's what I think is incredible is you just said what your goal is. You want to find someone. Okay, perfect. So how do we have a healthy relationship with dating? Because it looks like you are feeling like you are getting your feelings hurt every time you start dating someone. I think, and I talked about this on my single episode where it was just me and I focused on like dating. This was a while ago. So if you want to listen to it, you totally should. But I felt like the last time when I came out of COVID, same thing. I watched, Taryne and I together watched all of our friends at home who were married, who had kids, like living their life during COVID. And that was when it clicked for me, because I was the whole independent woman beforehand where I dated, but I wasn't taking it seriously. I watched all my friends like living their lives at home with their family that they've created. And I realized I wanted that during COVID. And I was like, well, how do I meet a guy now? Like, I'm literally stuck at home. I feel like trash. Like, how do I do this? So I came out of COVID ready to date, but I was very specific on what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And I wasn't ready to settle.
Yeah.
And I made a list in my head of like what was okay, what was not okay, like what the type of guy that I was looking for. And it was pretty easy. So here's the thing I love about dating apps. It's only as personal as you make it. Mm-hmm. If you have a crush on someone that you see regularly, that's a whole different story, right? Your emotions are getting involved. You're barely talking, but you're glancing at him. And there's a lot of flirting that happens, and that changes everything. Online, though, you can really tell like if you're going to vibe with someone or not. And it takes one night out of drinks or dinner and a real honest conversation to know if you're going to like someone or not. And if you're seeing red flags, cut yourself off, cut ties. Like, don't let yourself flirt. Don't let his compliments get to you, because they will. And we love a good compliment, you know? But if you're noticing that it's, I don't think he's the right, I don't know, like I'm noticing all these things, don't go on a second date. Yeah. Cut ties. Like, don't, like, if you are an emotional person, your emotions are going to get involved and you're going to get your feelings hurt, just back away. Yeah. Back away. Because I think dating, it feels like such a personal thing, but it doesn't have to be, especially online. If it's a bad fit, it's a bad fit. Yeah. And I think it can be seen more as like I don't want to say business transaction, but like it's more like, okay, we're meeting up for dinner. Are we a good fit? Yes or no? If we are, awesome. I'll see you again. If we're not, then let's cut ties. Don't let him text you. Make it very clear you're not interested. And just like, don't hurt his feelings, but be like, hey, I don't see this going anywhere. You're awesome. Like, good luck with the rest of your life.
And I think, like, from what I heard, we're very, very similar in our approach to dating. And I think the new dating culture was not meant for people like me and you, Anonymous. Like, we're not meant for it. And that's why it's so hard, because we are very loyal. We're very, like, open to everything. And I heard someone, I think it was like on a podcast or something, that was saying how detrimental dating app culture is specifically for guys, because women have more of a tendency to be open and wanting to get to know people and seeing potential, where guys are much more like black and white, cut and dry kind of thing. And so they were saying that this dating app culture is bad, because what guys will do is they'll go on dates and be like, oh yeah, that was fun. And then on the way home, they see another shiny penny on the dating app and are like, oh, okay, on to like something else. And then they ghost and they do all this stuff. And then especially when you're the type of person who like has such a like mushy like heart that just wants like, I love you right away. Not that I love everyone right away, but you know what I mean? It's a very hard thing to get into, because when I feel like a conversation's going and we're vibing and then you just all of a sudden stop responding. Yeah. It's very hard for me not to take that personal when like that's just the way dating culture is right now. And it's the actual worst. Yeah. But I hear a lot of similarities in what you're saying, Anonymous, and I relate to that. And I think it's rough. But props to you for still trying, because I definitely think I'm not trying as much. Yeah. But I think it's also other steps too, like going out to drinks with friends and being open to like looking around the room and seeing if you want to start conversations, or reaching out to friends and being like, hey, like I'm like looking, I'm ready to date. Like, do you have anybody in mind that you think would be good for me? Like, just being more open in other areas, not just dating apps, because for certain people, I just don't think it works as well.
Yeah. And I think there's other things you can do about the loneliness now that we're moving past dating. Except I do want to say, I agree with Taryne. I also believe in like speaking things out. And I think if you are looking for a specific type of man, it's okay to speak that out and like remind yourself every day that you are looking for this person. I think you can do that with work too. Like this is, I'm going to be this. Or you can do that with any goal. Like I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. Like I think there is power in words, and I think speaking it out, I'm not saying it's magic, it's going to appear, but I think there's something to speaking it out and believing that you will get that one day.
No, and it incites action. Like I'm not joking. Last night I was like looking at myself in the mirror and I looked kind of rough, and I was like, I think I want to get really hot. Like, but what happened? I was getting ready to go to bed with a little bit of makeup still on my face, like hadn't really done like my skincare routine or anything. And then in that moment when I looked at myself and was like, I think I want to like invest in like trying more in my appearance. And you bet your butt, like I sat there and I did my whole full-blown skincare routine because I was like, I shifted my mentality in that moment. Yeah. So I think I'm totally agreeing.
There's so much power. And if we're talking about dating and you're speaking out about finding a man for your life, it's hard to sit at home and not actively do something about it when you're saying it every single day. You know, you can't be aiming for this goal in your career and not actively doing something about it. Like it's not going to come. And this whole mentality of like, oh, he's coming one day. Is he? Like he's coming to your door? Like no, he's not. Like you got to get out. So I love that you are aware of that and putting yourself out there. I also don't think it always has to be like out at a bar or like on dating apps. Make yourself work at a coffee shop. Like go find a club or a gym membership or like something that makes you see new people every single day. Yeah. Even if it's like, okay, I'm going to go to the grocery store again. Find someone, maybe spark up a conversation.
In aisle 4.
You know, like I love gym memberships for that reason because I'm constantly meeting people. And it could be like the smallest interaction, but like what if it's a guy and what if it's flirty? Like it just gets you around new people. Yeah. And I'm not saying that you have to go join a singles club because ew, but like let's do something about it. Let's get outside.
I will say like every guy I've ever had something with was so like organically just like happened. Like my main guy I dated, like literally my friend invited me to a worship night. As I'm walking in, he's walking out and we like zing, like instantly, right? Yeah. So it is hard when like everything in my life has always come just so easy. Right. And so now I'm like, wait, you're telling me I have to try to get this? And like, how do I do that? And then when you try and nothing happens, it like creates this whole like, what is happening? You know what I mean? So it is hard. It's hard to accept that like everything is different now. Like dating in general is different now. And some of my friends who like have been married for the past 5 years and are going through a split, when they're like starting to dip their toe in the dating pool, they're like, what is this? Like it is very different. And I think it's hard to like roll with the punch and pivot, like we were talking about earlier, pivot and figure out like, whoa, like what is life now? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think, I mean, obviously you said you're 26. So you've been in like the dating scene for a bit because you moved out when you were 23. Okay. So you've been doing this for 3 years. Yeah. Math. Took me a second. And I get how that's frustrating and that's a long period of time. But I think I think we just got to shake it up. Yeah. I think you got to keep going. I think I went 7 years without a serious relationship. It sucked at times, but like it was also great at times. Yeah. And I think it sounds like right now you're in a sucky moment, and I've been there. Taryne's been there.
She's still there.
But like it comes and it goes. Yeah. And I think that it's okay to be in that funk in that moment and accept it. And honestly, feel sad. Like play a sad song, cry about it. Like get it out of your system. Yeah. Go for a long drive and listen to the sappiest playlist. Yeah. Please do. It actually is really therapeutic. But like
little Avril Lavigne.
Then you gotta shake it off. And you got to keep going because guess what? That's what everyone has to do. And if that is a goal of yours, then you have to keep putting yourself out there. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. And I'm so proud of you for putting in the work. And even in this like dark period of your life, like trying to actively find a way to fix it and trying to actively pull yourself out of it because that takes strength. And turns out you're a pretty strong person. Yeah.
And I also want to touch on the friend part of it. I feel like that is something like I can relate to too, of like, it's really hard when things shift just in general. And, you know, like I've gone through periods of time where I start to question, I'm like, if I don't text this person, like, will they ever talk to me again? Like, or, you know, you're going through all these life things and you do start to, especially once you get into a place where like you're hurt, you start to like a little bit hyperfixate on those where you are keeping track of like, well, this person hasn't like reached out to me, or like they know I'm going through something and they've never checked in on me or like asked me how I'm doing. And, you know, like it's been 2 weeks, or like, oh, interesting, they're hanging out with these people, but like they don't, obviously like they don't care about me anymore. And I've gotten into like some really dark places with friendships where I was like so hurt by things. Some of them valid, yes, but some of them also like made up in my mind. And I think what starts to happen is you focus so much on the people that like aren't giving you the love you like desire, and you ignore the people who like are trying to give you love. So I think we've talked about it before. I think sometimes like taking inventory and being like, okay, like what do I have in my life? Like what support do I have? And like, yeah, is it hard when like the people you want are not there? Like, yeah. But also like, I think it's good to like appreciate other things in your life. And when you do start to get out of the victim part of it, even though like you have a right to feel like a victim in certain scenarios, but when you choose to get out of that place of just remaining in sadness and keeping track and creating your case against people, you start to then see like, okay, well, if I do want to text them, I'll just text them. And if I have to start the conversation every time, if I really sit in it, does that suck? Yeah. But also like, if I want to talk to them, then I'll talk to them. And you start to like shift the way that you're acting too.
Yeah.
And instead of like contributing to the problem, you start to just be like, hey, like I'm going to move forward and see like what can come from me just being open to other things. So I will say like I definitely like empathize with you, because that factor to me contributes more to like a deafening loneliness than like a guy.
Yeah.
Because when you feel like your friends aren't there, like that's the most heartbreaking thing you can go through.
Guys come and go.
Yeah.
Friends are supposed to be there.
Yeah. So I would just like find the people you do have, even if it's only one person and you just need to lean on them for a while till things start to work itself out, then like do what you got to do. But also don't be afraid to reach out, because sometimes people are just involved in their own life. And if you have, like I said, if you have to be the one to start it, then like at the end of the day, is that worth it? You know what I mean? To like not be sitting there being like, wow, this person obviously like does not give a crap about my life. Like just text them and start a conversation, you know?
And I think pay attention to how they respond.
Mm-hmm.
If you text them and you're like, hey, I'm feeling this way, blah, blah, blah. If they don't care and they're very dismissive of what you're saying, maybe distance yourself.
Yeah.
Because a real friend would respond and be like, oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I think something that I think Taryne and I are also learning in this stage of life is like life comes in really crazy seasons and ebbs and flows, and things look different sometimes from year to year. And sometimes that means reaching out more on your side, because your friends in a relationship, guess what? It's going to get even worse when they start having kids.
Yeah.
And like, you're going to, if you're craving something or wanting something, it is your responsibility to like, step up and do something about it. Yes, a friend should be reaching out, but if you're sitting there and you're feeling lonely, then it is your responsibility to do something about it. And I think it is even more interesting. Like I had a conversation with my mom about friends in her life, in her stage of life, and she's 60, and like now they're taking care of their parents. And their kids are in college, and you know they have 2 homes, or they're moving, and the really big things in life are happening that are so much bigger than what's happening in mine and Taryne's stage of life or your life. And it's hard to find friends to support you in that area of life when you're like now 60 and like big things are happening. And she's like, I have to reach out. Like, I need prayer because this is happening and I haven't heard from her. So I'm just going to reach out and be like, hey, can you like help me in this moment? And it was really kind of cool for me to be like, oh, you struggle with that?
Yeah.
At 60, you don't have your life together, you know? And I think that's something that's never going to go away. And friends, if they're real friends, when you text them and you're saying you're down, they'll show up.
Yeah.
Even if it's only a phone call or only a text, they will show up. And if they're not showing up, then I think you need to question.
Yeah. And find people. Yeah.
The level of friendship that you have with that person.
Absolutely. I think loneliness is a very easy emotion to set up camp and dwell in. Very easy.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of action and being proactive to move past it. So I think right now, you're recognizing I'm in these places and I don't like it. So now it's just going to be like tangible ways that you can move past.
Yes.
Whether it's volunteering at a local place, whether it's going out to dinner or like going to a place that's like family seating and you're talking to other people, whatever it is, it's pushing yourself past your comfort zone in hopes that you can find these things that you're desiring. But I know for me, I went through a time where I withdrew and then I nested the crap out of my apartment to now, if I were to like put together my heaven in a living space, that's what I live in now. Like my apartment is so geared towards everything I've ever wanted.
Yeah.
And so it's very easy for me to just stay in that place. So now it's almost like, okay, like I'm shifting around and now I have to find ways of like reaching out and like branching out and saying yes to going to things even if I don't want to, because I'm being open to what it could bring me.
Yeah.
So I think now you're at a good place where you're like, shoot, I'm recognizing patterns. I'm recognizing like this sucks.
Yeah.
And now you just need to like shift perspective and push forward.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to talk about, because I completely forgot about this, is you live alone.
Yeah.
And I live alone. And that has been such a huge transition for me this last 6 months-ish. And I didn't realize how hard it was going to be and how lonely it was going to be. And I have found myself going to Trader Joe's for no reason.
Yeah.
Other than to get out of the house. And I
mm-hmm.
don't want to go to my sister's because I'm trying to force myself to stay home and make my place feel like home. I have found myself going on 4-mile walks.
Yep.
Just to not be sitting at home in the quiet alone.
Yeah.
And I obviously you're a professional. I should be asking you for advice because you've been doing this for 3 years, but like that's hard. That's really tough. And the only like comfort that I have found has been having that kind of routine, like making myself go to the gym, making myself like, okay, if I'm home and alone, I'm going to light a candle and play light music and read a book. And I'm going to romanticize the hell out of being here alone in this moment. And it's hard. And I get how that's, I never understood, but I get how that's tough now.
No,
so
for sure.
I'm sorry that all of that is happening at one time because that's a tough spot to be in. But thank you so much, Anonymous, for writing in. I have full faith that things are going to turn around. Again, life comes in ebbs and flows, and your good season is coming. So
yes,
thank you.
I agree. Honestly, you inspired me. I'm like, girl, you need to step it up.
Same.
I'm such a hermit crab by choice now.
Yeah. She was single. She was living alone for 3 years. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do better, Ashley. It's been 6 months.
I feel that. Cool. Well, let me just ring it up.
Mm-hmm. As we do.
With a dad joke.
Mm-hmm.
What should you wear? Wait, what? Why should you wear glasses during math class? The silence.
In case the number 2 pencil stabs you in the eye.
I mean, practically, sure. It's a dad joke, Ash.
I don't know.
There's no reason.
I don't know.
They say it improves division.
Guys.
Do you get it?
You already
vision.
know. If you made it to the dad joke, we love you the mostest. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this episode. Y'all are our favorite. Send in any story that you could be sitting on. If it's a I've been living alone story, if it's a lonely story or a weird dating story, doesn't matter. Send it in because we'd love to help you process it.
Yes.
Follow us on socials, Instagram, TikTok, the YouTube. And we'll see you guys in the next episode, which will be coming Monday.
Ya.
Bye.